So here we are looking at the LibTech EJack knife. You can see the review above, and we talk a lot about what this is, and it's kind of just lives in that world in between, like all mountain and free ride. It's definitely directional, it's got a little taper, but when you get on this, it's got so much more of a mountain feel than you would think when you compare this to even, other boards like the Burton Flight Attendant. So it kind of lives in both of those worlds. This reminds me of a flight attendant with a lot of edge hold, where the flight attendant tends to let go in harder snow, where this just keeps grabbing. You can go out and carve with this really well. It kind of reminds me of an even more aggressive version of, let's say, the Rossignol Crypto. This has more camber and it's more carvy. Not quite as bomby, but kind of has that feel too. And it just grips like a champ. It was just super fun to get it out. And take a look at this camber. So I thought there was some early rise with this board, but if you look at the camber line, it's like with this, it comes up like this and then comes down so hard in the tip and the tail, and it doesn't seem like there's much or any early rise. If there is, it seems like it's almost eliminated by the way this just comes down in the front. It just seems like it's just coming down so hard. We haven't had it in powder yet, but I own this, so I'm going to keep it for a little while. Try to ride it in powder. We've only had it in kind of like medium to firm conditions so far. Just carves like a dream though, and turns like a dream. It's just such a fun turning experience, and that's what you get at camber, at the sacrifice generally of core float and powder for its shape and for its style. Probably good compared to a lot of other camber boards in terms of directional float, but not really good compared to a lot of hybrid and rocker shapes out there. So that's kind of the trade-off. And then the second trade-off is it's catchy as all hell. It will make you pay if you fuck up. Let's talk about setback stance width options. When you set it all the way back, looking at 22 3/4, so you're looking at 6 back on board with that stance. That's pretty good with standard discs. You can get a little further back if you have mini discs, but you need that to compensate for this full camber ride. And it doesn't quite have the taper that some other Mervin boards do. It's only like, I think it's only like 8 mil of taper. You've got to contend with a little less taper, but you can see there's a lot more nose and tail. And you can also see though, it seems like, I don't know what they're doing here. Maybe it's just the minimal taper, but the side cut just seems to do really well with riding switch for such a directional board. That's kind of one of like the reasons why I was like, wow, it's definitely still lopsided and a little off, but you're like, wow, this really does good when you're closer to centered. This can ride switch well. But all in all, this is a very fun board. It might not like unseat one of our favorites, but it really is a top contender for those who like. The Rossi XV is one of our hard snow free ride favorites, and the Rossi 1 Mag is one of our hard snow all mountain favorites, and this is kind of in between both of those boards. So if you're kind of leaning towards something that really excels in hard snow, and you see powder sometimes but not as much as you see hard snow, this might be the better solution. So there you have it.